Hi, Doc Miles here. Today I want to talk about shooting RAW and JPEG and also going back and getting photographs that you've shot 8 or 10 years ago or longer. And with the new improvements in Lightroom CC and Lightroom Classic, how you can get better results out of those photographs today than you did back in a long time ago. So I have a lot of clients and friends who just want to shoot JPEG, and that's fine because all the post-processing is done right in the camera. And if you have it set up right, you get good results with that. The only drawback is you can't go back and adjust a JPEG photograph and do anything really to it because it's already been processed. Those pixels are lost, they're gone forever. If you shoot JPEG and RAW and you keep the RAW photographs on a hard drive somewhere, then you can go back. If you get interested in Lightroom or you get interested in post-processing, you can go back to those RAW photos no matter how long they've been there and post-process them and get better results than you would have if you just shot JPEG. So what I want to do is jump into Lightroom and show you those two things today. I think you'll find them very valuable. Thanks. Okay, so we're going to jump into Lightroom, and this is Lightroom 7.3, Lightroom Classic CC 7.3. If you don't have Lightroom, you can get the subscription for $9.95 a month. That's only the cost of 2 lattes per month, and you get this very powerful software that can organize your photographs, keep them organized for you so you can find them when you need them, and also give you a very powerful post-processing engine. So let's take a look at it, what we can do with 30 seconds with one photograph in Lightroom CC. The first thing I'm going to do is going to go up here to the profiles, and I want this to pop out. I want the colors to really snap, so I'm going to choose Adobe Vivid, and automatically you can see things have changed. Now I'm not going to make any other minor adjustments. I'm just going to show you how fast you can do this. The second thing I would do is come over and hit the auto button. Now the new auto in Adobe Photoshop CC 7.31 uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to analyze your photograph over thousands of other photographs and render the tones according to what the machine sees. The only other thing I would do here is I've created a preset, and presets are things that you can make adjustments and then save them and apply those adjustments with one click. What I do to every photograph is I go through here, and because raw photographs definitely need to be sharpened, I will sharpen the photograph, and then I go down to remove chromatic aberration and enable profile corrections. I've already got a preset for that. It's called Docs Import. I'm going to click that preset, and you can see that the sharpening has been done, and these two have been checked. So all of this is done according to the lens it was taken with. And that's it. 3 steps: profile, auto, and an import preset. And look at the difference. Here's the before, and here's the after. So that's how you can, in less than 30 seconds, process a photograph that's a raw photograph in Lightroom without having a great deal of knowledge of how to use Lightroom or what it's all about, and it won't take much time at all. So now I'm going to show you something that I'm embarrassed for. Eight years ago, I took this picture in the Canyonlands. This is called House on Fire. And back then, Lightroom had been out for about 4 years, and it was pretty good. But HDR was the rage, and I shot HDR all the time. Everything I did, I shot 9 bracketed photos. Sometimes 5, but mostly 9 bracketed photos because I didn't want to miss out on any shadows or any highlights. And then I would put them together in a third-party software called Photomatrix, and they would come out like this. And it would be grungy, way over-processed. It was really hard to rescue anything unless you were an expert at Photomatrix, and you were able to get better results than I could. You'd have to go into Photoshop, take the original kind of middle-of-the-road photo and brush in and brush out. It was a very laborious thing to get anything decent in HDR back then, but there were books written about it. Everybody was excited about it. There were third-party software all over the place that you could download and do HDR with. And I think just about everybody was able to recognize an HDR photo and say, oh, that's HDR. And it took on a bit of a, kind of a stigma that, oh, you shot this in HDR. Well, I'm so smart because I know I can tell it's HDR because it looks like a cartoon, or it looks grungy, or you didn't do it right. So let's go back and take this photograph, 8 years old, in its raw format, and I would like to show you just how good Lightroom has improved over the years and why it's worth the $9.95 a month from Adobe to have the subscription. Okay, so here is a raw photo from April 14th, 2010, taken at the same location. It's the same shot, the house on fire in Canyonlands. And this is a Nikon RAW photograph. I'm now using Lightroom CC 7.3.1, and I'm going to first step I'm going to do is hit the Adobe Vivid profile, and it's already starting to look a little bit better. Then I'm going to do the same thing I did before, hit the auto button and let the machine learning and artificial intelligence take over. And now that's looking even better. Then I'm going to my import preset, which all it does is sharpen and lens correction and camera calibration. That's all it does. So I'm going to hit that, and you'll notice that this little bright spot down in the corner is almost gone. All I would do now is just take the crop tool and maybe just bring that up a little bit. Oops, sorry, crooked. Bring it up a little bit and just get rid of that. So without doing anything else except those 3 steps, I've made this photograph look a lot better. Here's the before. This is the middle shot of 9 bracketed photos. So this was the one that basically was the middle shot, and there's the after. Now let's compare that to the one that I took 8 years ago and laboriously processed in HDR and then into Photoshop and did other stuff that took a long time, probably took 20 or 30 minutes on the photograph, whereas here I took less than 45 seconds. The two compared, one going into a third-party HDR software, back into Photoshop, a lot of bells and whistles in Photoshop to try to get it to look what I thought at the time, 8 years ago, I thought that looked okay. And over time, I had this thing printed too, by the way, and over time I looked at it. Every time I looked at it, I thought, that's not doing much for me. That's too over-processed, and I'm sorry I did that. How can I make it better? So today, I just did this for you in Lightroom 7.3.1, and I think you've got a much more balanced photograph. It doesn't look fake. It really looks like what I thought I saw back then. And I think you'll agree that Lightroom has improved so much over what it was like 8 years ago that it's well worth the investment. And if you just did, this took less than a minute to do. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, subscribe. And don't forget, we've got Doc Miles Photo Tours, San Francisco and Yosemite, and Loop Brothers Photo Adventures. We do workshops throughout the West. We have one coming up in the Eastern Sierras, October 9 through 14. We'd love to have you join us, as well as a Bryce Canyon workshop, Bryson Grand Staircase Escalante, in November. So our website is www.docmiles.com and www.loopbrothers.com, LOUPE brothers.com. Thanks for joining.